Hello everybody. So in this video we're going to talk about breathing and the importance of breathing and how to breathe and why we breathe with that out breath for our pelvic floor contraction. Now, I've mentioned before that it's not just about your pelvic floor. We can't just strengthen the pelvic floor alone and that actually do everything. We have got to cover everything around our pelvis and our hips, including our breath work with our diaphragm. So with this video I'm going to explain why we do that breath out when we're doing a pelvic floor contraction instead of that breath in, which might in your head make more sense by breathing in to kind of lift everything up. So I've brought some things to hopefully explain it to you. Now I showed you this model right at the start, but I'll explain everything again. So imagine this is a person as I'm sitting now facing you. We've got these hip bones at the front, tailbone at the back, and our pubic bones here, and all underneath here is our pelvic floor. So the ball is going to act like pressure, inter-abdominal pressure in your tummy. So if I sit it on here now, when we do a breath in, our ribs expand and our diaphragm lowers to get breath into our lungs. So if our diaphragm lowers, imagine our diaphragm is here, it actually puts pressure on our pelvic floor. So with this, our pelvic floor can do one of two things. It can, if it's already long and weak, it will just give up a little bit more and you might notice that you have a little bit of a leak. These could be in high powered moments like your coughs, you're sneezing, or if you suddenly need to run for the bus, or dare I say it, a trampoline. Or what it can do is the pelvic floor goes, oh, I need to resist this, and actually pushes back into it and gets too tight and gets shortened and holds everything in because it doesn't want to get pushed down. So it kind of resists it by throwing you back up again and kind of holding it there. So this is why with the breath out, because our diaphragm lowers with that breath in and lifts as we breathe out, by lifting, it allows that pelvic floor to lift too, and the two of them work together. So it's not one pulling the other one up, and it's not the other one pushing up either. So I hope that makes a bit of sense for you there. So now we come on to breathing. Now a lot of us think breathing is fine, and we're absolutely fine breathing and just getting on with it. COVID has a lot to answer for with breathing. I've spoken to a lot of people whose breathing patterns have changed by having COVID, normally because they start breathing just at the upper lobes and they don't expand their ribs and they don't actually use their diaphragms. So what I want you to do, pop your hands on your ribs. As you take a big deep breath in, do your ribs come apart? And then just breathe out. So I don't want you to force that breath out. It should be a passive one, which means you're not doing enough to try and get it out. It's just an in-breath. And does it come back out? Have a little bit of a feel. Is it doing what I want it to do? Hopefully. On top of that, our posture plays a huge part as well. So this is why I'm sat down for this one on the lovely bench. I want you to have a little wiggle of your pelvis. Forward and back, and I want you to sit right on your sit bones. So are you kind of hanging off them and leaning back, or are you coming too far forward? So we've got, this is called a posterior tilt when we're going backwards, and anterior tilt coming forward. So you just want to make sure you're right on top of each other and your ribs are stacked over your hips. Relax your neck and shoulders. Now have a little bit of a feel again. Does it make any difference? We're doing in breath and an out breath. Just let that out breath go out naturally. Another way you can do it to know am I doing it right or not is one hand on the tummy, one on the chest. Which hand moves more? That bottom one or the top one? Now, if you've noticed that you're breathing more up here and you can't expand those ribs and your tummy's not quite moving at all and you're thinking, what on earth is she on about? Don't fear. Things can be done in order to help that. I just want you to practice it, really. So when you breathe in, visualize your ribs opening up and closing, curtain opening, just something big. Visualization helps massively when we're trying to get our brain to do what we want it to do. So have a practice with this one. I just want you to think, right, okay, I'm doing a breath in and a breath out. Are my ribs coming out and in? I'm all nice and relaxed, right? Hand on my belly, hand on my chest. Can I feel that lower hand moving? Now, in stressful situations, or if you're at work and you think, oh, I'll try and do some breathing exercises, you might notice that you're breathing just at your top. So give yourself a bit of downtime to do this. Just take your time, set yourself up somewhere quite nice, and just have a little sit and have a little play with it. And from our breath work, we're going to expand into further things, and hopefully you'll be able to get that pelvic floor contraction with that breath out. Think of that diaphragm working with that pelvic floor, helping to lift it up, assisting it, rather than having that battle. As always, let me know how you get on. If you've got any questions, if you're really struggling with it and need a few more techniques, let me know. I've got a big basket I can dive into to help you with your breathing. But yeah, keep me posted. Good luck.